After hiking many miles that day, I had sought refuge in a remote cabin, deep in the woods, hoping to find the perfect spot to escape from the world's chaos. The cabin was a haven of wood and warmth, seemingly untouched by time. It was perfect. As I settled in, the peacefulness of the forest outside was broken by an unexpected visitor. A stranger knocked on the cabin door, saying that they had needed some help and somewhere to stay. They appeared friendly, and I cautiously let them in, believing in the kindness of fellow travelers. But as the hours passed, the stranger's behavior grew increasingly erratic and crazy. Their smile became a creepy grin, and their words took a dark and strange turn. It was a horrifying realization that the person I'd welcomed into the cabin was harboring sinister intentions. Fear gripped me as I contemplated my escape from the remote cabin, deep in the woods with an unpredictable and insane intruder. It was a stark reminder that danger could be lurking just beyond the door. Deep in the heart of this dense forest, I set out on what I thought would be a tranquil hike, a solo escape from the world. But let me tell you, what started as a peaceful journey turned into a nightmare that still gives me shivers. As I ventured deeper into the woods, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Footsteps, not mine, echoed through the trees, sending my heart racing. I picked up the pace and dared to look back, and that's when I saw him, a disheveled, wild-eyed stranger stalking me with a scary grin. His appearance was horrifying, and he began muttering things that made my skin crawl. His whispers of obsession and veiled threats chilled me to the bone. I called for help, but he just laughed, and it hit me. There was no one around to save me. In a desperate bid to escape, I relied on my knowledge of the terrain. I ran deeper into the forest, up and down the hills. But he was relentless, always just out of sight, tormenting me. But I knew he was there, laughing. The sun dipped below the horizon and darkness fell, but I finally stumbled upon the ranger station. The stranger vanished into the shadows. I reported the ordeal, but they never did find him. Let me tell you, that hike will haunt me for the rest of my life. And this story is a perfect example of one of the true dangers of hiking and camping alone. You never know if the next person you meet is like you, wanting to just enjoy the nature around, or a legitimate crazy person that is unpredictable.
Way in the backwoods in a dark forest, a lone camper named Chloe sought solace in the wilderness. Little did she know that this journey into the woods would turn into a harrowing tale of survival. As night fell, the once familiar woods transformed into an eerie and unfamiliar realm. Unsettling rustles and distant whispers permeated the stillness. Chloe's campfire provided little comfort, casting feeble light that only intensified the looming darkness. A bone-chilling howl echoed through the trees as she realized she was not alone. Terrified, she fumbled for her flashlight and aimed it into the inky void, revealing eyes that glittered like malevolent stars. The creature, an emaciated figure with matted fur and jagged teeth, crept closer, its presence reeking of primal dread. Panic coursed through Chloe's veins as she clutched her phone, hoping for a signal, but there was none. Desperation set in as she retreated into her tent, its thin walls her only barrier against the lurking horrors outside. The creature's haunting presence circled her campsite, its guttural growls and menacing scratches leaving Chloe paralyzed with fear. The night, it felt endless, as she clung to her flashlight like a lifeline. As dawn finally broke, the creature retreated, fading into the depths of the woods. Chloe emerged from her tent shaken, but alive. Though she escaped the ordeal physically unharmed, the chilling memory of that night would forever haunt her, a reminder that even in the serene beauty of the woods, true horrors can lurk, waiting to terrify those who venture too far into the wild unknown.
I ventured deep into the woods, loving the peace and the quiet of the forest. The rustling leaves and distant birdsong painted a picture of serenity, but that peace would be shattered. As I trekked, I encountered another hiker, a friendly, middle-aged man with a warm smile. He seemed like any other person, sharing tales of his loves for the woods and the beauty. We exchanged stories of our journeys, and the hours passed in the blink of an eye. But as the sun began to set, a strange sensation overcame me. The man's stories took an odd turn. He started speaking of experiences from decades past, and it dawned on me that something was amiss. My heart pounded as he confessed that he had died in these very woods years and years ago. The realization hit me like a sledgehammer, and I stumbled back in disbelief. His image wavered, and he began to vanish, leaving me in a chilling silence. I was left alone in the darkening woods. My encounter with the other hiker a ghostly reminder that not everyone is as they appear to be. I wonder how many hikers I've met have been one of these ghostly people. I still shiver at the memory of that fateful camping trip. It was supposed to be a relaxing weekend getaway, a chance to reconnect with nature, but it transformed into a nightmare that left me forever changed. We set up our camp deep in the woods, surrounded by towering trees and the distant murmur of a river. A perfect spot, really. As night descended, the wilderness came alive with eerie sounds, but it was the sense of being watched that truly unsettled me. Our campfire cast long, wavering shadows, and the rustling leaves seemed to mask the sounds of approaching danger. It wasn't long before the feeling of dread washed over me. I couldn't shake the notion that we were not alone. That's when it started. A relentless series of noises, subtle at first, but growing louder and closer. Footsteps, heavy breathing, and the sense of someone else lurking just beyond the flickering light. I called out, but there was no response, only the silence of the forest. Panic clawed at my throat, and I realized that something or someone was out there, and they didn't want us in its domain. The night wore on, and the terror escalated. Shadows seemed to grow darker and larger. My friends and I huddled together, armed with nothing but flashlights and fear. We heard whispers, chilling laughter, and branches snapping under someone's footsteps. With the first light of dawn, the scary unseen stranger had left, but we were shaken and exhausted. We packed up our camp in a hurry, desperate to leave behind that nightmare in the woods. I still can't explain what happened that night, but the memory lingers. Always remember, friends, stay alert. You never know who or what could be in the woods with you, alone.